that's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about a permanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. We are back with another Book Club Friday here at the D-Gen Roundtable. Tonight, coming to you both horizontally and vertically, thanks to a good one of our buddies who is guest streaming us over on his Instagram as well, I see, which is fantastic to see. Anyways, tonight, we're covering the final book in a trilogy. No, it's not Lord of the Rings. It is $100 million offers. $100 million offers, models, and money models. I definitely butchered the second one. But either way, this is the book that all three of us have been very excited for a long time. Very much enjoyed the first two. And I will say, I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well. So with that being said, hello, everybody. I am Zenith, your host for tonight, and I'm joined by two excellent gentlemen here tonight. So up first, the senior, the older, the more close to the grave, some might say, Mr. Will Stevenson. How you doing, buddy?
Bro, I'm almost dead. I'm so close to the grave. I'm pretty much knocking on death's door. Of the 30,000 days of life that we have, I'm at 29,993. So I got 7 days left to live. We're going to do the best that we can. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. So one more book club, ladies and germs, and then I suppose I'm out of here. But it's good, man. I'm chilling out up in New Hampshire right now, drinking myself a delicious Labatt Blue, perfect Canadian Pilsner. So, or pristine, excuse me, a pristine Pilsner. This stream is not brought to you by Labatt Blue, but I sure do love drinking them. Yeah, life is good. I've been working on some outdoor projects all day, been doing some modifications around the house, and been on the phone with Sam a lot too while all this was happening. And by the way, shout out to you, Zenith. You did a fantastic job over on the Hex conference, just not even but a few moments ago. So for those of you guys that don't know, Zenith did a talk on the legal stuff going on in Hexico over on Matty Allin's Hex conference, the 6th one in a row, which is going on live right now. So we don't blame you guys if you're not watching us and you are watching that, because who knows, maybe Richard Hart will start speaking tonight. But enough about me and enough about Zenith. Let's talk about Sam. Broski, what are you up to, dude? What's new and exciting with you? I see you are you look like you're in some sort of different scenario.
I am in a different scenario. Often my scenario changes day to day. Sometimes I'm in a box. Sometimes I'm with a fox. And yeah, I'm in a van right now. I currently picked it up a few days ago, and I'm currently changing it into a living box and a podcast studio. So that will probably take a few months, and it's going to be a cool journey. So that's what's going on over here. But I want to know if you guys were there for the Money Models launch. Because if you were on that launch, man, Hormozy, man, he I think I've outsold, like, is the most number of books sold in one thing, or most like dollar value of books sold. I forget which one it was. But he employed every single tactic in every single one of his books, including the Money Models, and then executed it to launch all the books. And so he did what he said he does in the books to sell the books. And it's just like, it was brilliant. It was this great speech thing. And man, he had me sold on, he like just hyped up this whole thing. He like gave this thing and I was like, oh, that's free too. And that's free too. Then that's free too. And then at the end, he's like, oh yeah. And I'm not done yet. I took all this data and I made an AI. And it's just like thing after thing after thing. He just Hormozied it like no other, and it's a really good thing that I didn't have my debit card limit was lower than his buy-in for whatever it was he was selling, so I couldn't buy, but I would have if it would have worked. So
That's sick.
Yeah, I'm
Although-
stout a little bit.
It is really cool. Although I will say there's a great irony because I'm pretty sure in his second book he has an anecdote where he's like walking down the street and bumps into a guy, and the guy's like, "Oh, you're Alex Morsey. What are you up to these days?" And he's like, "I'm literally launching a product right now, and you have no idea what it is." And well, me and Will didn't know that there was an official product launch for it, but we knew the book was coming out at least. So, wow.
I got the fantastic update from Sam live, like as it was happening, and shortly after he gave me a cool debrief. So I got to experience all of this euphoria vicariously through Sam, and it was what, Sam, like a couple weeks ago when he launched it.
Yeah, it was probably a couple months at this point.
Yeah, there was like a webinar. There wasn't an IRL event that I know of, but I know that it was all. Like there was a really big webinar or stream or something. And I was looking at the Guinness, or not the Guinness, but on Audible. It was just saying a second ago that he sold 4 million copies of all 3 books. And like get some Guinness World Record series of like the quickest number of books sold extremely fast and crazy cool and whatnot. So
fastest selling nonfiction book in history.
Yeah, he's
That
just
is
like,
sick.
I think the real kick in the pants that got him there, I think at the end, I mean, obviously he's just awesome, but at near the end of the stream, he took, like, he had everybody hyped up to buy cool stuff and give back to everybody, right? And he said, "Hey, I'm going to take this money that you're spending, and you're not actually paying for all the stuff I'm giving you. I'm going to give you all the stuff I have made completely for free. I'm going to take the money that you're giving me and apply that to purchase 200 of my books. And then I will give those 200 books you purchased to other people for free." And so basically everybody's buying his thing, but in doing so, they're actually donating their money to somebody else and all these other young. It's like this beautiful brain scheme. Oh God, yeah.
I gotta say, one of the coolest parts of how Alex Hormozi runs everything, in my opinion, is even in the books, like he'll talk about it. He's like, I wanted to try to offer this to everyone as cheap as I possibly could, just because I want more people to read the stuff and potentially use it. Therefore, I could potentially work with you in the future. So like, I think if you go over to his website, acquisition.com, you can find pretty much everything on there. And as many of our listeners know, as you've read the books yourselves, there's always a little section at the end. He's like, hey, by the way, little bonus section for everybody that made it to the end. Here's a bunch more free stuff over on the website. You now know where to go find it. It is, in my opinion, it's so wild that he's doing this. And in my opinion, it really shows that there's like a lot of different ways you can do this kind of thing. Because for him, his business model is not writing books. His business model is through acquisition.com to acquire businesses that are doing 2 million net revenue per year and acquiring them to scale them up to do even bigger so that they can all make more money together. Look,
Yes.
Is it philanthropy? No. Does it almost feel like philanthropy? It kind of does.
Yeah, because like his whole idea is he wants to make you rich so that way he can invest in your shit and make you richer and make himself richer. So it's like he's basically turning out the perfect like money making machines, and I think that's super cool. And ideally, that's what I would like to see Hexaco become. Richard investing in the community, then we turn and do better things, and then yada yada yada. Like Hormozi's got it like fucking set and figured out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I think is super cool and awesome. So, but yeah.
Most definitely.
Speaking of awesome things, is it fucking time, Mr. Zenith, for some chat motherfucking shout outs? I almost knocked my fucking beer over here. Is it time for chat shout outs, bro? Is that what time it is?
Yes, it is, sir. It is chat shout out time. So, first DGen of the evening, our boy himself, Centurion 54X, aka 54 Cent. He says, "What is up, DGens? Good to see you, my man, as always." I will say, I hope, I want to say you read a good amount of the books that we do on here. I hope you read this one. It's short and sweet, like 3.5 hours long at one-time speed. Hormozi, thankfully, is the guy that talks fast enough in audiobook readings. where I was on 2x speed for this one, and I was like, this might even be a little fast. So I bumped it down to like 1.5, 1.8, 1.5 for the important parts that I saw. But outside of that, Mr. 54X himself, thank you so much for showing up. Always a pleasure to see you. And we just got good buddies in the chat tonight. Everybody in the chat right now I see is a good buddy. Speaking of which, slide one, Annie. Josh himself coming in here with cheers, clinking to the glasses. Cheers to you, sir. I have a green screen beer here tonight. Not quite Will's old school green screen beer. What were those? The garage beers?
Oh, yeah. I don't have any garage beers with me up here. They don't sell them at the local little store in the tiny town I'm at. But yeah, garage beers is the notorious green screen beer. It is like just the right shade of green.
That's true. He says, cheers, you glorious D gentlemen. Hey, cheers to you as well, a fellow D gentleman. By the way, Will, what did you say you were drinking? You had the one of the Canadians.
Yes, I have a Labatt Blue, a pristine Pilsner from Canada, because I'm up in New Hampshire, and these things are awesome. It's actually brewed in the United States, but it has a Canadian leaf on it, so maybe it was made by Canadian dudes. And I'm drinking it out of a Tuborg Gold Carling National Breweries thing, which I don't know what the hell that is, but it's a really old beer brewing thing, and they make these cool ceramic horns. So it's a good drinking time over here in New Hampshire.
I dig it. I have a Bosque Brewing Salt Money. This is one of my favorite beers, pretty much from like a local brewery ever, because it's just a Mexican lager, but the way that they do it is there's lime and salt already infused into it. So it's like the fully dressed Corona in a can or straight out of the tap. It is sick.
That's fucking sick, dude. Those are the best.
Yeah, love it. Alrighty. Last one coming in here, but possibly maybe our most favorite. That's Tam Tam. She says, hello, gentlemen. A warm hello to you on a Friday night. I hope you're doing very well. I know you're probably very busy with keeping up with the Hex Conference as well. We may be streaming during it, but we got to keep the stream schedule. So we stay disciplined, keep putting out good episodes for everybody. But always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for showing up and tuning in. Really appreciate it. And Josh is coming in with one more. He says, Will's glass is sick AF. Not going to lie.
Sick. It's a sick glass. I like it. It's fucking dope.
Excellent. Alrighty, that does it for chat shoutouts. But folks, if you have any good comments, questions, or interesting quips, or just good jokes, bad puns, we take them all. We'll be reading them off as we go through the show, as you all know, because you're all homies here. And to anybody that's joining us for the first time, pleasure to have you. Hope you enjoy it. But yes, gentlemen, let's get into it. So, $100 million offers by Alex Hormozy. This book is the final in the trilogy. Will corrected me earlier. The first one was $100 million offers. Then we had $100 million leads. And now we have $100 million money models. So, core premise with the first book, Offers, that was, how do you create an offer so good people feel stupid for saying no to it? Great premise for a business, but there's a lot of other steps behind that. Second book was $100 million leads. How do you get leads for your business to actually make sales? That was a pretty good and very in-depth book. A lot of very specific things about advertising, about affiliate programs, everything in between as well. This last one, in my opinion, it felt like it really kind of like completes the circle, if you will. This is money models. This is how you actually get the business off the ground, get it sustaining itself, and getting it scalable. Scalability is one of the biggest things that people are trying to figure out when it comes to their personal businesses. I will say, I think two of us here are not business owners, but thankfully we do have a fine business owner joining us in Sam Stevenson. So real quick, Sam, before I get through more of the summary, can we get a quick background about who you are, what do you do, and how is it running a business?
You know, it's a lot like doing other work. I think it's very rewarding to be able to develop a skill set and solve problems for people. I really do think that it's very much the same as being employed by someone, in that you're going to have a network of people that know you and know your skills, and you're going to use your skills to help them make money. The only difference is that, like, I help other businesses make money. I'm not helping my business make money in the same sense, but it's all very similar. I draft house plans, and I figured out that I've combined a bunch of skills that I've created in the past, and the engineering experience and the college experience I had, and my interests. I was able to pure interest only because I spent a lot of time learning about a particular thing. So as a subject matter expert, and I applied it to one specific niche and said, I am going to do this skill. I just need to tell everybody who would need this service that I do this skill. So Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers helped me figure out that I just need to pick a very specific person and give them an offer that's so good they'll feel stupid saying no. And then the leads told me how to tell everybody. And now this Money Models book is telling me how to take it to the moon, which is pretty cool.
Excellent. So I mentioned one of the big buzzwords, especially people see on social media ads, which is how to make your business scalable. So what is scalability when it comes to a business? Quick rundown for the audience here.
Well, scalability would imply that you can take all of the actions that one person might do and train other people to do them. The harder, more complex, and unique those things are, either the more skilled your person is going to be hired, or the more people you will need to hire to fit each one of those micro skills. So if a process is, quote, scalable, as an example, if I draw houses, I could draw commercial buildings, I could draw houses, I could draw pools, I could draw decks, I could do all of those things. Theoretically, a more scalable business would be I draw houses, because when I hire somebody, I only train them to do a certain set of skills in a particular direction, therefore making it easier to scale my business. Now, I'm going to make the argument that everything is scalable, and oftentimes people get hung up on trying to be scalable too soon. There's oftentimes you need more volume, need more reps, you need more of everything. And it's the exercises of doing all of the other things that are going to help you figure out where you'd like to pick the niche and then scale in that direction.
Nice. I think you even hit on one of the little golden nuggets that was inside of this book, which is that people try to go scalable too soon. But even Hormozi talks about in this book, which is like, look, there's different steps you got to take along the way. If you try to launch with the full model in this book, it's going to collapse under the weight of itself. It is a step by step by step thing. And patience is part of the name of the game. You got to get through one step before you can get to the other step, largely because it pays for the other step. So there you go. Scalability, the name of the game. The basic premise, I think, to make it a little simpler for folks out there, is like people see scalability, or the issue of scalability is like, I have a business that's successful because I have the knowledge, I have the skill, I have the know-how, but I have only so many hours of the day and only 2 hands. How do I get more hands so that I can teach other people to do what I do and know what I know, so that we can keep this going horizontally instead of keep trying to stack my time vertically? So excellent. Thank you very much, sir. That being said, let's get into it. Alrighty, so short book. I like that. Makes life easy, but it also keeps it very focused as well. So the first one talks about why businesses die. And this one, major points are pretty much saying that they spend too much money trying to acquire and service as customers instead of receiving back cash in the early days. Anybody that has looked at opening a business, you will know that there is an upfront cost or a startup cost with it, meaning you need a certain amount of money. And oftentimes it's well into the 6 figures, especially if you're doing something brick and mortar. So that's one of the challenges. If you are unable to get enough customers soon enough, pretty much your funds or your supplies, your reserves, the bank account, it's going to run dry. You're going to default. The whole thing's going to close. So that's one of the big problems that we're trying to solve with this book. Next up, we go into the money model framework. It is defined as a sequence of systematically designed offers that maximize how much, how fast, and how often customers pay you. The overall goal is to create self-funding customer acquisition where new customers fund acquisition of additional customers. So you set it up so that when you get one customer, you have made enough money that it's actually going to help you acquire more customers on top of it. Preferably not just one, but even multiple. That's how you really get that scalability factor here. And then next up, we have the 4 core offer mechanisms. We're going to be talking about these a lot tonight. So up first, you have attraction offers. These are things to get customers into your door and become your customers. Next up, we have upsell offers. These are ways to offer customers more things to purchase, making you more revenue. Next up, we have downsell offers. Very much in line with upsell, but slightly different avenue. These are ones where instead of upselling, you're pretty much trying to tailor fit a package, purchase, product, service, whatever it is, to your customer. And then lastly, we have continuity offers. Pretty much think about these as long-term repeatable purchases that you sign upfront. So you're probably very familiar with this. I imagine all of us have a utility bill, a phone bill, a rental contract, something like that. It's pretty much saying, yes, I'm agreeing to pay X every month for however long, and these are the terms of it. And then there are other ways to incorporate even some of the other offers into other offers to kind of compound and stack them to maximize what you get out of each of them. Next up, we get into a good amount of case studies. I really like this book because Alex Hormozi does a good job of showing both real case scenarios and then also talks about how this is easily applicable to a lot of different industries and comes up with just like a handful of hypothetical ones and gives you examples of like, here's how you could apply all these different types of offers to your business model. It will require some gray matter thinking and effort on your part to tailor it to your specific niche. But that being said, he shows how you can do it and gives you the steps for it. Next up, we get the strategic stages of building your money model. So we got 3 stages. Number 1, get cash. You need cash to maintain a sustainable business so you don't go under, as we talked about in the first section. Next, step 2, get more cash. This is using upsells and downsells to increase immediate revenue per customer. Again, more cash means more ability to A, survive, and then B, spend it to acquire additional customers. And then last 3 is get the most cash. This is the way to build continuity through repeat purchases and mechanisms that are going to maximize your customers' lifetime spending with you. Next to last, we have wealth and scaling principles. This is talking about connecting the different wealth creation vehicles how you can compound it over time. And then lastly, we have practical implementations and next steps. And I guess is like the post-credit scene in this book. Hormozi does have a nice little 10-minute chapter where he gives you the TLDR for everything he talked about in the book and wraps it up with a nice, neat bow. So, gentlemen, hear me out. Let's start with this. What were your overall impressions of the book? Yes, you.
Damn it! I can't find my unmute button.
There you go.
It's like it's very in line with everything that Hormozi's already been putting out. Like it wasn't like I didn't really absorb a whole lot of the stuff that Hormozi says from like a really practical, like I'm going to use this information kind of perspective. It's like, oh, that's neat to know and interesting. Very cool. Anyways, on with my regular people life, not being a business owner and stuff. Like a lot of the stuff that he talks about is really cool and awesome. And I love the what'd you call it? Like the perspective that he has on sales and things. And this book was even more of that. So I thought that it was like, it's the same stuff that Hormozi's always been doing, and it's even bigger and even better. And I'm trying to think of something that he said in this one that like shocked me or like gave me the wow factor, but it was like, oh yeah, it's more of his stuff that would be like really cool if you were a business owner, if you were someone with this sort of that chased after this sort of knowledge. So that's what I thought. Sam, what did you think?
Well, I think there's like some of the lessons that are in the book could be applied to people who do not own businesses. The broader concept being, if you can do an activity and extract some kind of energy from it, it would be best to set yourself up in a way where the energy you can extract from that, you can dump right into improving the next thing about yourself. As a simple example, if you get a raise, instead of living better, you pour it into getting a new skill set, which you can then like keep stacking. So I think the concept is very similar. And the other way to kind of tie that over would be if you have, let's say you do buy a course, you want to extract the most out of that course to like, that's like the squeezing part. So in the Money Models book, he talks a lot about how you want to get the most value per customer, right? It's expensive to get customers, so let's get the most value out of every single customer we can get. And, that would be relatable to normal people in that you should, if you do something self-improvement, you should give it 100% of your effort to get the most out of it so that you can put that back into the next thing. But, I really do like how Hormozi, he's able to frame things in a way that is very obvious once he says it out loud, but it's certainly nothing I would have thought of beforehand. Because there's a lot of things, a lot of tropes, a lot of stereotypes that are in the world that are antithetical to his points. Like you don't think about, oh, I should try to get the most money out of every single one of my customers. Like that's not natural necessarily. But when you think about like the function of like, I paid money to get that person to contact me in some way, it makes sense that you should get the most out of them, because in reality, if you're not thinking about how to get the most out of them, you're not thinking about how to give them the most of what you could give them.
For sure.
And that's ultimately like one of the keys, I would say.
Yeah. I think you hit on something that I think if you're not a business owner or you're not in the business mindset, this book might be off-putting if you kind of just been seeped into the culture of the new year of our Lord 2026, which is that we're in the world where everything kind of feels like you're getting inflated, shrinkflated, and everything's getting shitified on top of that. So if you are the consumer looking at this book, you're going to hear terms like, we want to get as much out of our customers as possible. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, these greedy bloodsuckers just want to squeeze me dry for my hard-earned money. No, explicitly, Alex Hormozi, I think, would argue very heavily against that, and especially through the way that he frames it, which is that in business, what you're really doing is you're just trying to solve problems for other people, and the way that you're solving their problem, and they pay you to solve their problems. That's pretty much the end all be all of it. And it even goes into one of them when he talks about the deselling idea, about how you can ensure that you don't degrade your own trust by like trying to, like, you make someone an offer, they say no. So the deselling is not offering the same product for less. It's custom fitting and like trying to like remove things, find a different alternative, but you're never selling the same thing for less, because that immediately gives the impression like, oh, you were overcharging me to begin with. Why would I even want to give you my money at all? That kind of stuff.
I just wrote that quote down, by the way. That was a talking point that I wanted to bring up, because it's like, if you're selling me something at X price and then you just drop the price later, then it's like, well, were you lying to me the whole time without changing anything in like the product, without being like, okay, well, I will charge you less if like I don't give you this, that, or the other service, or this sort of guarantee, like some sort of reasonable deduction of price or whatever. You just be like, okay, fine, you can have the car for, $5,000 less than I originally was selling it to other people for. And then, customers talk, and then it finds out that, one of them got shafted for $5,000 more than the other one. And then that ruins your reputation and stuff like that. So that was actually one of the more fascinating parts of the book that I did think was super cool. But you were in the middle of a thought, Zenith. Do you remember where you were?
I do. Yeah. So pretty much talking about like how Alex Hormozi does ethical businesses. It's pretty much like we talked about in the beginning with how he runs his company. The goal is he's not trying to like do hostile takeovers of people. He says, you have a successful business. You are large enough where if I spend my time, it's worth the amount of time that I put into it that we're going to get out of it, both you and me together. So it's really just going for that win-win scenario. It's saying, you have a problem, I have solutions, you can pay me for it, and we can work this out, and we're both going to be happier on the end. That's, in my opinion, like the perfect way to do this. I think it's a fantastic way to do business. I wish more people looked at it that way, both from the business and customer side. But at the same time, that's a real core fundamental piece of this book. So if you're reading this book, keep in mind, it's from business owner standpoint. The whole reason you got into business was to make money, to sustain yourself, because you gave up the day job to do that. So it's not charity. You're trying to like make the world better and make everyone happy and sustainable in the process. Additionally, Sam, you hit on another one of my points that I was going to bring up, the snowball, which is that one thing builds into the other. I think that idea has been inside of all the other books he's talked about, and it's kind of a core fundamental strategy to a lot of the stuff that he does. And well, here it's in full force yet again. I think it makes complete sense, which is like you're using the business to grow the business, and you're using customers to acquire more customers based on the revenue or what they can provide you in exchange for your goods and services. That stuff makes total sense. I understand how it builds into this type of model. And I guess it's kind of a bit of a callback to when we covered Millionaire Fastlane, where they say, look, you can do good, sustainable practices, investing in your 401k, your Roth IRA, investing a little bit, living below your means, that kind of stuff. You'll be a millionaire at the age of 65. But if you want to try to build a business and be a millionaire before you hit 35, there are ways to do it, and the snowball method is definitely one of them. The final note that I have for my overall impressions of the book is that for me, this felt like really the full circle moment, which is that $100 million offers. We got how to make the offer, all the parts that go into that, the magical formula, and then in $1 million leads, we get okay, cool. You have the thing to offer. How do you find people to offer it to? Fantastic. This one is definitely how to run the sustainable business. So it's covering a lot of the bases there. I like that it feels very practical and like on a tactical level instead of a strategic, like 10,000 foot view, because a lot of the stuff he talks about is showing you ways to incorporate it. But at the same time, I think as a reader, you also got to understand, like, this is not a out of the box ready business that you open just by reading the book. What he's talking about is principles. And even in one of the first stories that he talks about in the book is saying that once you do business, you kind of see business just as a model instead of whatever niche you're in. Obviously, the niches require expertise, knowledge, experience, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, at the end of the day, the way Hormozy puts it is that business really falls into very similar principles that you can apply no matter what field you're in. So I appreciate that we came full circle. I appreciate the amount of detail he gives you everybody, or gives the reader when you're reading this. But at the same time, I mentioned it before, it's still going to require some gray matter activity. It's going to require some thought, some effort, and a lot of the other stuff he really starts with before you even get into this stuff is the idea that you can't fail unless you quit. And that means that, guess what? You're not going to hit it out of the park on the first try, and you're probably going to have to keep failing until you learn the lessons, figure it out, and figure out a way to do it. So I enjoyed the book. I think this is a good one. I was looking at it. There's even another book that I just saw. It's the $100 million lost chapters. So who knows? Maybe a fourth episode on Book Club, but we'll have to see when we get there. And I guess as a final note to everyone out there, one of the cool things about this book is he said this is the first edition. He's going to continue updating this using a lot of feedback he gets from people out there on the ground running businesses themselves to understand how to make the offers, how to make the money models, and even more ways that these things can work. He's very upfront about it. He's like, this worked for me. It might not work for you, but this is how I did it. And I think these are good principles. And guess what? If you can replicate it, I think there's a high likelihood that you will also succeed. So there you go. We got all the caveats out of the way. Excellent. Alrighty. Let's get into our first topic here. So let's talk about the 4 core offer mechanisms. Up first, we got the attraction offer. What the attraction offer is the way to get people inside the door to make that first purchase, and then also structuring that first purchase in a way that you're actually making money instead of just straight up spending money at a loss to acquire customers that you can hope to try to recoup costs for later. So overall, when it comes to the attraction offer, was there anything that really stood out to you as kind of like the new idea or the aha moment about the way to think about it?
Are you talking
broad, specific, whatever you want to do?
So in my particular scenario, which is all I really have to talk about because it's me, that's what I understand. The attraction offer when I started my business was I had this cool 3D printer and I was just calling up home builders who are the people that I wanted to know that I existed. And I said, hey, I'm going to 3D print you one of your houses that you've built and you can gift it to a customer or keep it in your office or something. So it was a gift. Oh, shit. Look at that.
Hey,
so
nice.
It's the
That
floor
looks
plan
sick.
on the bottom, and I 3D print and put the walls and windows and doors and stuff. So, yeah, don't make those anymore because I realized that they were very time intensive and costly to ship. And also when the summertime came, they warped and got all destroyed in the mail. So I basically had this winter window to call all the builders all over the country, wherever I wanted to do business, and offer them this thing. And this is my attraction offer was you just send me the file and this thing will show up at your door. Like it's the freest, easiest, coolest thing I tried. And I just got a lot of yeses and a lot of attention, which was great for my sales experience because I needed to learn how to get people to say yes to anything. And I also got a lot of no's. So I learned what it was like to hear people tell me no all the time. But that was my execution of the attraction offer. And I realized once I had enough momentum and I knew enough people that I could also add some friction to the process and just tell people, hey, this is the service that I do, because it was B2B. Like, I'm not trying to like get a consumer into something. It's just like super direct. This is a service I do. This is the pace that I keep it. And this is my price. I could just almost open with like almost that if they had enough pain and it was the right timing, that they would say, okay, great, I'm going to use you on this next one. I'll call you in 2 weeks. And once I figured out that was I could do that, I was like, why am I spending all this time getting all these other leads that I'm putting a bunch of work in for? And I was getting more leads, but if I could just crank up the number of phone calls and the number of effort, the amount of effort I put in, I could get enough of the other people that I just could cut this entire part of my business out. Which is one of it's like you said earlier, it's like these are the things you learn by doing, by putting in the reps. Because like when you start, you have to put all of this initial energy and money into this thing to try to get it going, and you don't know which way is the right way to go, and you won't know that until you start doing stuff. So that was my interpretation of the attraction offer. So now I basically just tell people, hey, you can have this particular problem permanently solved, and those words are pretty much good enough.
When it comes to the attraction offer, I think your transition from the 3D models to the actual just straight offer itself, I think encapsulates probably one of the pitfalls that Hormozy talks about in the book, which is the idea that if you are not actually making money through the offer itself, it's costing you money. So obviously 3D printing, it's not free. It's very time intensive, as you mentioned. And then also at the same time, a lot of issues with it, whether it was the weather, I'm sure shipping isn't free either. So all these things. So would you say that when you made that switch, it really helped transition from I'm spending money to I'm spending less money to get more money?
Absolutely. I was spending about $1,000 a month just to send all these things out, buy the plastic, do all this work. And for the potential of having one of these people give me plans months from now, years from now. I had a customer, I sent him, I think, one of these things. It's 2 years later, and he's like, hey, I'm ready to go. Like, that's a long time for that cost to be sitting there. Yeah, it's much better now that I have the only expense is the time it takes for a human to call them up and tell them I exist. And we have that script down because we've done it 2,000 times.
Hey, there you go. Got to get those reps in.
It really is just a game of persistence, isn't it? It's like, and you can really apply this to just about anything in life. The more that you try, the more that you fail, the more that you learn what works, the more that you fail some more, the more that you try the next thing, and then you keep making mistakes, learn from it, give yourself permission to make more mistakes, and develop. There's a ton of people in the world who would just go through this and be like, oh, damn, my one idea of sending out models didn't work. Well, fuck, I guess I'm going to give up. And that's the end of the business. And that's it. And it's like, oh, well, shit. There goes $1,000 learning how to, for 1 month, there's $1,000 of plastic and shipping and time, and ain't nobody calling back until it's like 2 years later, so.
That makes sense. When it comes to the attraction offer, I think Hormozy is kind of famous for one model that he uses in particular, and it's the win your money back idea, or to get even like go from 0 to 10 customers, you kind of got to do things like for free monetarily, but find a way to get something out of it for the business. He talks about this and breaks it down in this book, which is that there's 3 parts to this offer of trying to get people in the door for free to get them in the mindset to make a commitment to the purchase later. The first one is, he says, you're kind of entering a little contract with a person, which is if you do X, Y, and Z at the end of your free trial, we'll give you your money back. If not, then yeah, we'll actually charge you for it. And so part 1 is you got to make it easy to track. Number 2 is get customer results. This one is interesting to me because he specifically talks about use this. The things you want from customer results is you want them to start engaging in activities that are the activities of the people that are already your best customers. So yeah. He talks about he does gym model. He did the gym launch model for sure. So he talks about the people in the program have to attend a certain amount of webinars, which he says are also a way to show different ways that you can upsell in the future according to their needs or whatever problems they have. And then additionally, like you got to commit to a certain amount of things, and then you got to track certain metrics. And it turns out that all of these things are things that their best customers are already doing, or if they're your first customers, theoretically what your hypothetical perfect customer would already be doing. And I like this one because I think that there's even like a little hidden thing that he talks about, although it's not so hidden, which is that if you can kind of get the person to do the things that other people claim to enjoy, odds are they're going to enjoy it and they want more of it. So it makes sense. And then the third part of this method of offering is advertising the business. I think this is especially apparent when he talks about the ones that go from like 0 to 10, which is when he was doing the gym launch and when he was doing the nutrition coaching at first. He was saying stuff like, hey, I'm going to offer this to you for free, but in return, I need some sort of like proof that it works. Leave me a review, share it with a few folks if you feel comfortable with that kind of thing. And then also a little part that he talks about is that if people feel like they're truly getting it for free, then they're less committed to do it. And then this is something he talks about in the other books, which is that instead of having them pay him money, he's like, hey, I want to have some sort of buy-in or commitment from you, so you feel like the desire or pressure to kind of keep doing this. So instead of giving money to me, just like tell me a charity you want and then give like $100 to that charity, and that is your gym membership for the 3 months, that kind of thing. As I mentioned, this is kind of like the method that he talks about in all 3 books for sure. I don't know if it's applicable to every business out there, but at the same time, I think that this is an interesting model to do it because it's giving you a legitimate kind of like contract with your customer. So you know that there are certain metrics you have to meet. At the same time, they're still experiencing your thing. If you're, whatever your product or service is, if it's good enough, then you are kind of betting on yourself at this point, which is like, if they follow through with this, I am sure that they're going to see the results they want. They're going to have the experience they want. They are going to solve the problem that they're trying to solve. And at the end of it, hopefully that converts them into a paying customer. I've discussed this with people in the past, and it's kind of been, again, it goes back to, I don't know if it's applicable to every business. Do you guys think that this kind of model is good for a lot of stuff, or is this more of like a Hormozyism for when it comes to doing gym launches and stuff?
Man, I'm sure it could be applied to a lot of things. Maybe if you're going to launch a strip club, you could do the same thing.
How would you track that? Your free trial of the strip club is truly free, and you get your money back if you're dissatisfied at the end after you watch 5 dancers get 1 private dance and have 3 drinks that you posted to your social media. Is that?
I didn't think through it at all. I just thought that it would be a funny thing to say, because fucking strip club, gym, they're basically the same thing. It's there's poles, there's people that are sweaty. It's there's locker rooms.
You are technically correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, please save us.
I think that it is applicable. That's why the Money Models book is so good, is because every money model is applicable. You just don't know how yet. And the strategy of figuring that out is what every entrepreneur, business owner has to figure out in their industry. It's like, oh, this worked there, but my industry is B2B, not B2C. So I might need to adapt this way or adjust this thing here. And like, you just don't know until you start trying things. That's the constant battle. Like everything I read in all of these books is tactical, but it's not obvious all the time. How to, like, some of the basic stuff is obvious. Like, did you call 100 people today? Yes or no? That's obvious. So yeah, I think it is applicable even to like strippers and parties and stuff like that. Absolutely.
There you go. Okay. Go for it.
I just want to say real quick, calling 100 people in a day is a lot more difficult than folks realize. Like that's a taxing process. Having sat in this very chair and called, I don't know if I ever called anywhere near 100 when I was helping Sam do some sales and stuff. I think that like the max I ever called in a day was like maybe 10, and it's just like, man, Thanks, that bro. Is a taxing process. Ooh, looks like Sam has his food delivery. But calling 100 people, man, that's fucking it. It is nuts. It is absolutely nuts. So people hear that number, they're like, "Oh yeah, I could call 100 people." Like, bullshit, dude. Go give it a shot. Go give it a shot. Call 100 people and try and sell them something. That's. Anyways, that's my only little jump in that I had right there.
I like it. Yeah, pretty much the bottom line or the summary for the attraction offer is that you're trying to use the attraction offer to get more customers at a rate that's going to pay for themselves later. Like we talked about with Sam with the 3D models, very, very cool idea. At the same time, though, that's spending money for the potentiality of customers down the road, whether it's now or like that one guy 2 years later when it's kind of irrelevant at that point, maybe. Alrighty. Next one, the upsell offer. So, Will, when I mention upsell, what do you hear? What do you imagine? What does that look like?
Upselling. Oh man, Mr. Slide 180 said it best. Sell what the people want. When you upsell someone, you're giving them more of what they want. That's what an upsell is that you're like, hey, you didn't know you had this problem. I'm describing this problem. Fortunately for you, we actually have the solution right here. It's like, hey, I'm selling you this car, but not only am I selling you the car, I'm also selling you car insurance. I'm selling you these cute little air fresheners. I'm giving you I'm putting you into our AAA, protection program. And also, if you come to us, you get 50% off all of your oil changes for the next 5 years. Yada yada yada. Like that is what an upsell is. And it's basically like you're getting the people that are already spending money to commit to spending more money into them. And ultimately, the way that everybody wins is you're giving them great value from their perspective, and they're getting a great deal from their perspective. And also the thing that you're getting them solves more of their problems, makes them feel better, and actually makes the world a better place. So that's what an upsell is. Is that what you were looking for?
I think it's pretty accurate. That's definitely one of them. So what I got out of the book is that Hormozi has two models of the upsell. One of them is pretty much exactly what you talked about. I think in the book, he even uses an example of there's a guy that ran a storage facility across from his first gym who kind of took him under his wing one day and was like, we're going to go get breakfast. And Hormozi looked at his wallet and he's like, and the guy's like, don't worry, it's on me. But then they walked around his facility and he asked him hey, what do you think? How much money do I make when someone gets a free month of storage at my place? And Hormozi's like, I don't know, nothing, because it's free. And then they walk into their office and he asks the lady at the front desk, the receptionist, and she goes, oh, $100. And he goes, what? He's like, yeah. So they come in, they get a unit, their first month's free. What do you need now that you have a unit? Well, you need a lock. Guess who sells locks? Me. And guess what? If you use my preferred lock, I'm even willing to up your insurance amount in case of theft, destruction, whatever it is, because I trust these things. I have a deal with the insurance company. It works. Cool. Okay. Now they're buying a lot from him. Okay, now you want to put stuff in there. How do you store stuff? Well, we also sell boxes, tape, markers, pens, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff you're going to need. Okay, that's another chunk of change. Additionally, do you actually have a good estimation of how much stuff you have, or do you end up usually having more than you think? Okay, cool. Well, hey, if you want a bigger space, we'll give you a bigger space. Another upsell there. It's the upsell exactly the upsell you described, which is in the book, he puts it as the upsell offer anticipates the customer's next need immediately after the initial purchase, aka solving a problem that they just created after they made the initial purchase. So again, in Hormozi's examples, someone's getting in on the nutrition plan or the fitness plan. It's like, cool, you're also going to need some supplements for that. Here's the other stuff that you can purchase with that. All right, there's even pre-workout for when you come to the gym, that kind of stuff, that upselling. The second kind of upselling, I think, is maybe one that the people that are less familiar with this kind of topic would think about, which is that you go to the restaurant and then the waiter comes over and says, oh, what can I get for you? Our special tonight is the 24-ounce porterhouse steak that's $160. And it's selling the high amount product, whether you're trying to do the tactic of price anchoring, which is you offer the premium product so that you can say wow, that's so expensive, everything else looks cheap in comparison. Or it's the idea that he talks about in the book, which is some people legitimately want to spend that much amount with you. And if you don't make that offer to them, you're never going to be able to make that much money with them. You're going to cap yourself on that kind of stuff. I think the exact example I gave was that if you have a $100 product and you have a $1,000 VIP package, people that get sticker shock are still going to be able to purchase the $100. But if you do come across that one guy that wants a $1,000 package, but it doesn't exist, well, if you come across 10 people, one person wants VIP. And then if you go the other method, it's the idea of like on that customer who wanted the VIP but is unable to buy it, you're missing out on $900. Versus if the person was even unwilling to buy $100, it means that you only lost $100 as opposed to $900. That kind of stuff.
Yep. I think his little quip was the second worst thing that you can do is offer $1,000 product to somebody who only has $100, and the worst thing that you can do in business is offer $100 product to somebody who wants to spend $1,000. And it's like,
there you go.
The framing is everything. But yeah, that's a good little story from in there.
Yeah, framing on that one I think is especially important. I think that again, today's day and age, I think the average consumer is a little jaded on this kind of stuff, and you can people have some pessimism, and they're like, "Oh, I just want this thing," but the car salesman's trying to get me to spend way too much money on a truck that has a bunch of stuff that I don't need, nor do I ever really want. But they're just trying to use like sales tactics and stuff like that. Again, I think Hormozy kind of splits the baby on this one perfectly. Again, it goes back to, look, at the end of the day, what was number one in the series? It was $100 million offers. Your offer is good and solid and fantastic. It's not that you're trying to give someone something they don't need. It's that all of the offers are solid in themselves. Therefore, when you find the customers that want those things, they're always going to be satisfied with it. AKA, they're going to get the value. So there you go. All right, tell you what, let's go to the related one here, the D-selling. So, Sam, if you get a second, do you mind explaining to the good folks what D-selling is?
Absolutely. And the first time I heard Hormozy talk about this, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing that. One of the things that I like to do, which it's kind of it does not agree with the previous statement we were just talking about, which is that you should try to sell high the first time. But
paradoxical
strategy. It's just a strategy choice that I've decided to make. So when I'm selling somebody a plan, let's say they're getting a custom house, they could be looking at architects up to $10 a square foot. Let's say it's a 5,000 square foot house, big boy. So they're going to pay $50,000 on the high end for someone who's a super professional, all the best in the world. Or they can find a draftsman probably around $1 per square foot, right? So a tenth the price. So they're looking like $5,000 instead. Well, I like to hit a sweet spot somewhere between that $1 to $2 because I draft well and I do it faster than everybody else. So there's some value there. The game that I try to play is I try to unsell things before I've given them my price, because I want to earn their trust. I want them to know that I'm trying to get the exact right number the first time. And so what I'll do is I'll figure out, okay, how much product do they need? How much effort is this going to take from me compared to other jobs? And how big is the house? If it's like a really big house that's empty, it's way less work for me. So I'm going to adjust all these numbers on my head, and I'm going to have some premium number in my head. And then I'm going to ask them, okay, I have a premium service where I will respond and get this stuff back to you next day every single time. And we're going to crank this thing out super fast. But if you're the kind of person who's like, this could take a few weeks and I'm not going to care, then you don't need that. So would you rather do a 2 to 3 day thing instead? And everybody says, yeah, 2 to 3 days. That's still way faster than the guy who hasn't responded to me after 3 months. Yeah, 2 to 3 days is still wicked fast. Right? So I can still maintain the impression of super high speed, but it allows me to basically relax my lifestyle and not need to crank out work as fast as possible. And then it's just a guarantee of 2 to 3 day service. I can still deliver them next day service, and they're like, oh, that was cool. And they're just happy. And so I've just cranked up the goodwill meter. And it works out the same for me anyway, because I like doing my job. So the unselling thing is definitely a thing I incorporate before I've given a price, because I want to know exactly, I want to sell the first time. I'm still a little bit nervous to fight like a true sales battle when I get the first no. I have not been in that scenario very many times. So I'm gonna work my way up to that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So like
the deselling idea overall, I think has a lot of benefits outside of just, well, obviously the primary benefit is what you're doing with it is you're still making money, but additionally you're building customer trust, because the example you gave, which is, do you need next day delivery? 2 to 3 is fine. Okay, sounds good. Or in the Hormozy example he gives, he's like, yeah, I had a female client who wants to lose weight and I have a list of supplements. And he goes, you're trying to lose weight. I don't think you need this mass gainer. So let's just cross that out real quick. Or also, hear me out. You're a nice lady. I don't think you're looking for a testosterone boosting supplement either. Let's cross that one out as well. It's the custom tailoring, which means that you're still giving above the minimum, but you're giving the customer exactly what is fit to them. So you're still maximizing your sales for yourself, but at the same time, you're also building that goodwill or providing that value like you talked about, so that you can still maintain good relations, which is going to help with a lot of future sales when they come up, and also hopefully help them recommend you to other people, because they feel like they're not a number. They're not just churn. They are someone that you see. You're like, cool, here's exactly what you need, not just this random thing I'm trying to shove on you.
Yep.
And
it feels better to have that.
Oh yeah,
dude, it feels great to have that personalized service. Like imagine your wife or your girlfriend or your significant other, or boyfriend, for those of you in the audience who roll that way, like they come up to you and they're like, hey, I'm gonna make you a sandwich, but I remember that you don't like this thing, so I'm leaving that off. I'm gonna put this other stuff that you do like, and I'm gonna toast it, and it's gonna be covered in butter, and it's gonna be delicious and awesome, and it's gonna have all these other this, that, the other thing that you like specifically, and I'm gonna do this for you. And here we go. It's like getting that service from other, like it feels good to be seen. And that's what this whole thing is describing. It's like, hey, you don't need this, you don't need this, you do need this. It's someone else doing the thinking and the processing and the decision making for you, especially when, like, you as the customer, you don't know what you want, you don't know what you need, you don't know all these things. And here comes this like person who has the expertise, and they're literally building up I think it's very speed of trust, very Stephen Covey. When people come in and they basically just solve all of your problems that are very particular to you. So that it's absolutely phenomenal from a human to human relationship perspective.
Agreed. Tell you what, I think there were 2 key principles. We already touched on one earlier, but when it comes to upselling and unselling, or downselling, I guess you could call it, there are 2 key principles. For the upsell, Will, you touched on this. You can make as many upsell offers as you want, as long as they all solve a problem for an appropriate price, obviously. Yeah. And then the unselling one is the other one that you mentioned as well, which is that you can offer something different for less, but never the same thing for less, because it's going to erode trust and confidence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those and ones, both, and the important thing to take into consideration with both of these is the salesman is looking at the prospect, and they're picking up what the prospect is putting down. They're reading into the intentions. They're understanding the person that they're talking to. It's all in service of the other person. It's all about, like, I'm focusing on accurately reading you as a human being and solving your problems as best as I can. That's what it is. It's essentially like it's like a version of therapy, but not really. That's what a good salesman done. What a bad salesman done is they try and like extract as much out of the person as possible and try and squeeze them dry from all their money, so that way they can, run off into the sunset and go buy their own lollipops and things, as opposed to like building a human relationship and taking someone else's wants and needs and fulfilling all of that stuff with their goals in mind, as opposed to your own. That's the difference between a good salesman and a bad salesman, between a good friend and a bad friend, between a good spouse and a bad spouse, good parent, relationship to the child, et cetera, et cetera. All these things have to do with, like, are you taking the other person's considerations into your decision-making process and into what you're trying to do? It's all about service. It's all about love. It's all about the other person. So it's like, salesmanship is a great thing for everybody to learn for this exact reason. That's my thoughts.
I think you put a good bow on that one. Let's leave it there. Alrighty, last type of offer, the continuity offer, or continuous, pretty much. So this one is designed to generate repeat purchases or subscriptions, maximizing lifetime value. Pretty much, it's exactly what we talked about previously for this one. It's signing that the monthly contract for the gym, your phone bill, your lease, whatever it is. The reason you want to do this is because it's going to reduce workload on your side of the house, meaning, or rather the way that Hormozy puts it is 12. If you're looking at a year-long purchase on a monthly basis, you are getting 12 purchases, but you only have to make the sale once. It's going to cut down on your time, your labor, your effort, all that kind of stuff. And again, this kind of works into all the other offers because you can use the continuity offer as the upsell offer as well. And then additionally, if you're trying to offer value or you're doing the free trial model for the attraction offer, you can even have it built into the continuity offer. So one of the things he talks about is like, you do the free trial and at the end of it, they're like, yeah, I want to sign up. They're like, cool. Tell you what, the money that you would have paid for that month or whatever, how about we just take it off or even multiply it a little bit? We'll take it off your total cost for like an annual purchase. So now you're offering the value, you're offering the customer, you're offering the customer more value, but at the same time, they're also willing to commit to more purchases as a result of it. I think the magic number that he works out on this one is that you're looking for what is effectively a 25% discount over the total course of the purchase. So that way you are still making money through your offer. The offer is not cash flow negative, it is cash flow positive, and at the same time you are still able to offer something larger than was even initially given in the beginning to make it feel better or more enticing to take the continuing offer as you go down the line. Yeah. So this is, I'll be honest, this is one of the ones that I was kind of thinking of. I was struggling to find examples that I could come up with for things that are not like a gym membership. Do you guys like, did you have any insights when you were thinking about this one?
You talk about like subscription stuff is the same thing as continuity offers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like subscription is continuity offer for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, there's multiple. I mean, most everything in our lives is moving to the subscription model. You know, like my favorite one is the cat litter subscription, where it's like they mail you a cardboard litter box, they mail you the cat litter, you put the litter in the litter box, and then your cat takes shits and poos and pees and all that stuff, and then you throw it out, and it's done and it's gone with. And then next month, your new cat litter box arrives, and voila, and like we've got Amazon subscriptions, we've got, you know, video games have transitioned from like you buy it once you own it into now, oh, it's free, but you know, if you want to unlock this season's perks and things, then you buy our season pass, or you know, like TV, or even like there's been a couple car manufacturers that have been so bold as to put like heated seats in their subscription service model. I think it was BMW that did that, where they're like, yeah, you buy this car, you own it, and it has the ability for the seats to heat themselves, but for the low price of $19.95, you get heated seats all year. And it's like, what? The fuck out of here. I think
while we're on that one, why do you break it down? Why do you think the reaction to that one in particular was so negative? Like, if you had to give the Hormozyism, what was bad about that offer?
Well, I think that was bad because a car is a tool for sovereignty. A car is a tool for like giving you options, and if you take options away from people, like then it's like heated seats are something that are in the car, or it's not. And it's like, is this car mine? If you can turn on something that is inside of my vehicle, does this car belong to me? It's like, that's a great question. You know,
I think you're right on there, which is that it's the losing the thing, but also at the same time, if it's not like a recurring service that you're actively having access to, but instead like, I don't know, a one-time purchase of a vehicle. Like, yeah, I paid you money, the vehicle is now mine. Why am I paying you for something that is already in the car that I paid for? I think in particular, this was a good use case study, whatever you want to say, for showing like where this continuity offer really goes the exact opposite way. And I mentioned it before, the idea of shitification. It was back in the glory days when apps were cheaper and you bought it for $5 and it never changed. And instead they start taking away features and making you buy it back. I think in the video game industry, like you highlighted, this is a big one for sure. Like you see a lot of games that are coming out, and then on day one they have DLC or downloadable content. It's like, oh, if you spend $20 extra, you can get these missions. And it's like, this straight up looks like you made the game and then started chopping pieces out of it to sell it back to me, but still have the same full price to begin with. It's like, what are you doing?
Yep. Yeah,
So,
it's
I was
an
actually
interesting.
just-
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just talking with a friend the other day who is in IT and stuff, and he was talking about software, and he doesn't like how software is all subscription based and everything. And I made the argument that people make products, and then they must sell them and monetize them, and people will trade their money for them. The only thing that's different about a subscription model is how they are choosing to get you to pay for the product. Along with that, I would sprinkle in the idea that everything requires maintenance always. It doesn't matter if it's a car. It doesn't matter if it's a video game. It doesn't matter if it's software. Everything dies, everything degrades, and everything needs more attention. So choosing to monetize things through a subscription model, it does, like, basically, I mean, it's forcing your hand to buy the product a certain way, for sure. But you're never forced to buy their product. You could buy somebody else's product. So that's kind of is what it is. But the main point I made to my buddy was, your software is going to have bugs. Microsoft's going to go update every 10 years, and then this is going to become useless software. Like,
Bullshit. Microsoft updates every fucking week and a half. And if you don't click it, it says there is no option to opt out. It's like, yes, or later, like 10 minutes from now, or some just fucking, sorry.
That's fair.
Crazy aside.
Sam, I think you're making a good point here, or at even a really good fundamental argument, which is like, yes, people are building things and we're trying to find ways to sell it. And there's different ways to pay for it. Hormozy even talks about in the book, which is like, if people are saying no to the issue, is the issue that they don't want the thing, or that they can't pay for the entire thing right now? And he goes into the idea of like, how do you do payment plans, that kind of stuff. Is it a certain time? Like, when's your paycheck? Just that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the real feels bad of subscription models, I think at the core, if I had to peg it down, I would say it's the idea that every time you pay the subscription, you are getting more. You are getting a new thing. I think like when with gyms or like your phone, it is, I have the phone and I need the service, or this gym exists. Every time I pay that month, I'm getting more gym, more phone. I'm getting more of it, as opposed to the BMW example, which is like, I have the thing already. Why are you charging me for the thing I already paid for? I think I don't know if that's the entire issue when it comes to the feel bads, when it comes to the payment services or continuation offers, if you will. But I think that in my mind, that's one of the ways that I would break it down to somebody who's looking to make a continuity offer, which is that, are you actually giving the person more of what they already purchased, therefore they're inclined to want more if they already like it? Or are you trying to reduce what they're getting and then just continuously charging them for the thing that they already have? Does that make sense?
well, so I could make the argument that, like in Tesla's, similar concept is they'll limit battery power, like from their computer system. So, like if you want to get emergency more magical power access out of your battery, you pay a little fee, and then it's already there, right? It was always there. It's a software control mechanism. So the argument I would make is, if I had the ability, and like I think part of the reason we're getting into so much of this kind of weird, they have access to something in my car, is because we have the technology to control these things from other places outside the car, right? And so if I'm going to manufacture cars and I can make one car on one assembly line with like everything built into it, that saves me so much money as a manufacturer. Less skills to train all my guys. They have one thing to make. It can simplify costs in a ton of ways. And if I can make up for it by just having some software guys code things a little bit differently, and then just sell people different options of cars saying you can access this, you can access this, you can access this. I can sell to a bigger market and hit everyone's price point for the things that they want and customize it to what they want and manufacture something easier and cheaper and control it in a separate way. And the people at the bottom might be like, well, I have the same car physically as the rich guy over there, but I'm not paying for my features. It's like, yeah, it's because those features costed a certain money and we had to build this whole algorithm to figure out how to charge all these prices and make it work. Yes. That's my...
There's an arbitrage opportunity in there for the cunning person with a soldering gun and an understanding of electrical schematics. And like, then you get the secondary markets, right? Of like, oh, look at these idiots. They sold all these cars with all this capability and they can't stop me from, snipping the red wire and connecting it to the green wire and then, turning it on and making it run and putting my own little USB port into the car and whatever the hell. Like, there's an opportunity there. And we run into this whole right to repair legality world with that. Zenith is all about the legal system and everything. I'm sure you would love to dive into the right to repair stuff. I don't know how much
I've been involved in the right to repair stuff. I am well versed.
Yes, I would imagine so, especially working in the Coast Guard and having gear that needs maintenance and things like that. I'm sure that was a part of it as well, or at least
I've seen it a lot more on the consumer side of the house than from like
really?
enterprise or government kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because the government will just be like, okay, yeah, fucking, we'll just pay the money and then you get the thing. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, you can't take apart your Xbox and fix your Xbox when it's broken. You have to take it because
Allegedly.
you don't own it. You don't. Well, I mean, you can. You physically can.
But in college, some friends and I found a broken Xbox that someone was throwing away. It turned out the exterior, the case was broken and the hard drive wasn't seated properly. So we stripped off the case, fashioned it to a cardboard shoebox, duct taped it up, transparent taped $4.20 onto the top, and renamed it the Xbox 420.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! And it worked. It worked.
Oh, she works great, baby.
Oh, that's my new favorite thing. I love it. That is. So
Anyways,
cool.
To Sam's argument. So, from the business owner perspective, theoretically, you have one product. And you're able to create this product through streamlined manufacturing processes. Sounds great from a manufacturing standpoint. Okay, now we're getting to the marketing and sales. So theoretically, we can sell this at various levels to people based on what they want and then charge them less if you put controls or restrictions on it, that kind of thing. I think that makes, I understand the business side argument for sure, which is that you are able to streamline your process and still serve all your customers at the same time. Are you able to sell more out of it? Yeah, possibly. I think that the feels bad with this kind of thing comes down back to the idea of the unselling principle, which is the idea that you're not selling the same thing for less. Because what you're arguing is that what you're getting out of it is different based on what you pay. But at the same time, I think that the customer on the other side of the desk is going to argue you are selling the same thing, but for less with more controls and restrictions. So I think I'm with you when it comes to the idea that if I can put certain things on the customer to reduce the price to get out the door, that makes sense. But I think that this might just be like one of those weird, dumb psychological tricks that humans always fall into. And we might not even be able to get it out of our brains. But it's the idea that, like, with the BMW, it's like you sold me the car, but you made it worse because I didn't want to pay the price. You still, at the end of the day, did get the car, but in the back of your mind, you're still thinking about like,
The real lesson there is it's all campfire stories. It's all perception, because Sam gave a very good reason as to why they did that.
Yeah,
right?
It's a great
and
reason.
then the person finding out that their car had these features and they weren't unlocked. It's like, oh, this enlivens our rage on the inside. It makes us feel like we've been stolen from, even though like there was some sort of agreement. And Sam's totally right. Like, people entered willingly into agreements to buy this car under these conditions, blah da da da. They didn't know, or maybe they found out some other way somehow. But like, this is why like storytelling and framing is very important, because you can take two totally different looks at the same like bits of information and stuff. So it's freaking cool.
I think this, honestly, this might just be kind of an issue that we've really run into when it comes to like the digital age, because it's a lot easier to modify and change things from the digital perspective as opposed to physically manufacturing stuff. Because back in the day, before internet, there were no Teslas effectively. And well, you just had the car. If you wanted to make the car go faster, you had to physically change the car. Because you're physically changing it, the person is getting something different or they're getting more of something. But when it comes to digital, it honestly is just a simple line of code. It's a flip of the switch, writing one extra line in there to unlock your Netflix subscription from 720p to 1080p to 4K. So this might actually be something that we've definitely run into more with the digital stuff from the continuity standpoint. So interesting stuff to think about for sure.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, gentlemen, those are the 4 types of offers. Is there any other thoughts you have before we move on to the next stuff?
I have nothing for what we've covered. Can we take a moment to do a quick bit of chat shoutouts?
Absolutely. You read my mind.
Excellent. Take it away, Z.
Alrighty. Coming up first, Hexagon Lost in Asia with the 07. Always a pleasure, sir. Good to see you. Hope you're having an excellent morning over there. We got Moondog getting into here too. He says, howdy rowdies with the pirate flag. Love to see that, Jolly Roger. Always good to see you. The Herc getting in here as well. Morden Brethren, good morning to you as well. And then Centurion 54X, he was saying, even replying to 100 text messages a day is insane. I agree with you. It's a lot, no matter what you're doing. So shout out to all you guys out there that have actually made 100 sales calls in a day. You're built different. I gotta say.
Centurion knows because he has to deal with all those 100 women that keep trying to get after him.
Yeah.
He say no 100 times a day, or maybe 98. Who knows? He's also coming back in here. He says, damn it, Bethesda. It all started with that damn horse armor. That's right. It all goes back to Oblivion when they sold you DLC horse armor, the first microtransaction. And now we have CSGO skin boxes. Who is it? I'm blanking. It's the Blizzard first-person shooter Team 1 with all the skins. Whatever, I can't remember. It's not important. Anyways, yes, it's all Bethesda's fault. There you go. The Hurt getting in here. He says, are we discussing the monthly subscription features added to cars? Imagine having to pay a subscription to unlock all your horsepower. That's why I stick to older cars. There you go, sir. Well said. Mr. Slide 180 saying the company I work at now pretty much has a monopoly on water purging for data centers and literally anything that uses water cooling. It's $1 billion company on a slow day. Dang, that is something else. All right. Ooh, we have a generous factor here. The Hurt
South African rands. Look at that.
99.99 saying Christ is king. There you go. Yes.
Shout out to you, Herc.
Shout out to you, big guy. I don't know what the conversion is that, but I'll tell you this.
It's about
a big
$6.
number, so we're very happy about it.
Yes. We do like the big number super chats. Thank you, Herc. That is very generous and awesome. That equates to about $6.07 US, and that is the South African rand, which is also split up into cents. So 1 rand is 100 cents in the South African currency. That's fucking awesome. Thank you, sir. Shout out to you and shout out to the Herc. Fucking awesome. A good amigo. And I totally agree with his sticking to the older cars, by the way, when he had brought that up. Any car built after 2005 to 2008, it's kind of a crapshoot, but there was something that happened in 2008 regarding American automobile manufacture, and I just can't quite put my finger on what it is. But for some reason, all of the American car quality seemed to have shot right down into the gutter after that happened. So shout out to her.
It may or may not have been covered in the book, The Great Accounting Fraud, or at least the item that was tangential to it. Tell you what, Will, can you hit Arceus real quick? I need a reload.
Yes, we've also got a chat from Arceus. A problem with BMW was heated seats were already a working technology. The subscription didn't add anything; it made it worse. The technology subscription aspect can work if you get something new or better. That is certainly a valid a valid viewpoint, and like it again, I think it depends a lot on like what people tell themselves. It's like, yeah, we've already got the capability to have this thing, and if you're not giving me a thing that my machine that I paid for can do, like, it would be totally different if you're renting the car. If you're renting the car and it doesn't belong to you, and they're like, you're not allowed to use these features, then it's like, okay, whatever, it's not mine. But if the car belongs to you, and the people like that gave you the car are withholding like things inside of the car that you didn't know exist but now exist, then it's like there's like quite a good bit of ignition. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Arceus. It like the heated seat technology has been around for quite some time, and this is one of the things that's going to live on for a long time. I don't know if I'm sure that they're going to, their reputation will not be tarnished as a result of this, but everyone will remember and everyone will make fun of them. And it is a great talking point because it made such crazy headlines, and it was interpreted and inflamed, and the campfire story of indignance caught wind much faster than anything else that they could do for damage control. So absolutely,
I've got an analogy for you, Will, to contribute to that point.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, like, because it's like we said before, it has a lot to do with the framing of how it's delivered. What does it feel like the person's getting? So an analogy could be, I could have a subscription where I have a secondary personal phone, and I say, this is always on me. It's like my beeper, If you want to give me this one-time $100 yearly fee, Mr. Builder, you can be one of the contacts in this phone. And when you ring me, I'm picking up, and you're going to get me instantly. That's like a value add I could sell. On the flip side, I could contact all my customers and say, hey, you all have my personal cell phone number. Only the people who want to pay me a $100 subscription fee can call me on my personal cell phone number. It's like in one of those cases, it feels like you're taking something away that they already had.
Nailed it.
So,
yep.
You could, it's like, yeah, delivery is important.
That was killer.
I like that. That's a good analogy. Most excellent. Also, we've got a follow-up from Mr. Herc. Will, I still want a 1967 Dodge Charger. I'm going to look that up real quick, and we'll pull that up on screen. 1967.
I already beat you to it.
Oh, you got it? Oh, fucking, yeah, bring that. Oh,
this is a good-looking car.
That's back when, man.
The fastback, that's hot.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the newer Chargers, but that is a nice-looking old Charger. We always made fun of the Marine Corps boots that would go out and get Dodge Chargers. that was the joke at 26 APR, 26% APR.
Yep, and they come back and try to tell you it's a good deal, and you're like,
and also, go ahead.
No, go for it. Well, I'll finish this before I finish this.
Well, I was going to say, Mr. Slide 180 wants you to chug a beer once you get back from wherever it was that you were going, so I could read the super chat. But regarding the boots and the cars, they not only would they give you the 26% APR, but they would also get other boots to co-sign for them. So that way, they're all just kind of like caught up in a little tangly mess and things. Like, I don't know if the Coast Guard is a lot smarter than the Marine Corps Zenith, but this was a problem. Really. It was a problem so much that, like, in almost every unit that I went to, like, whenever new joins would join, they would hold like special classes where they're like, look, you dumb fucks, all of the car companies out in town are going to try and get you to buy a car at a horrible deal. Please don't do it. We can't stop you from doing it, but if you do, you will be unhappy, and you'll be like, it's kind of like, when the father has to give his daughter like the speech of like, you can't just go sleep with every pretty boy that comes your way, or something like that. But it's like for young dumb Marines that are full of testosterone and want to have a fantastic, beautiful, fast car that they can drive around base and get tickets in and stuff. So like there was a whole bunch of this silliness. So
yeah. Anyways, tell you what, let's get back to it. All right. Yes. So This is a lot of the rest of the book is a lot of anecdotes. However, there is one other section where it's a 3-step model to how to do it. And it pretty much covers a lot of what we talked about and categorizes where it goes. So these are the strategic stages of building your money model. Because remember, we're not trying to build offers, we're trying to build models. Offers was book 1. Now we're trying to stack them all together and figure out how we can get them to flow into each other. So, number 1, get cash. Create an attraction offer that brings in customers for minimal cost while delivering perceived value. Step 2, get more cash. Layer in upsells and downsells to increase immediate revenue per customer. Number 3, get the most cash. Build continuity and repeat purchase mechanisms to create maximum lifetime value. The exact quote I have from the book on this one, he says, a good money model makes more profit from a customer than it costs to acquire and service that customer in their first 30 days. The $100 million money model makes more profit from one customer than it costs to get and service many customers in the first 30 days, which removes cash as the limiting barrier to scaling your business. So a good one means that you're at least breaking even or getting a little ahead. What we're really shooting for here is we want to build the model which allows the scalability, which is I get one customer and it gives me enough money to go get 2 more customers or even 3 or 5 or whatever. So attraction offer, that goes in the first one. Upsells, downsells, that goes in this stage 2. Stage 3 is the continuity. But for this section, what he really talks about is you got to figure out one before you go to the next one. So obviously, throughout the entire book, we talked about the idea of trying to like layer these in and figure out how to do them, tweak them, modify them, all that kind of stuff. Why is it so important that we at least get an offer that will get people in the door first?
Well, if you don't
Well,
get people
you
in
want
the
to
door,
reward.
you have no chance at getting reps. Period.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like you got to feed the beast for it to learn.
That makes sense. I think that this might be one part of the book that seems kind of conflicting with itself, because we opened the book and we talked a lot about making sure that your offers generate more money. But here he's saying that step 1 is just figure out how to get somebody in the door.
Yes. I mean, that's like there's so many, probably because for most people, like they probably aren't starting with the skill set of how to get people in the door. They're probably starting with some expertise in a very specific technical niche.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like every job you've ever had, people are like, I'm a quit and start my own business. And then everyone looks at them and be like, you've been saying that for 2 years. Why haven't you done it yet? And I think this might be the answer to that question, which is like, you have the expertise, you don't have the rest of it. So I don't know. I think that this is the less sexy sounding part of the book, in my opinion, which is it goes back to Hormozy's idea in the beginning, which was like, look, you're going to fail. As long as you don't quit, you're not actually failing. You just haven't figured it out yet. At the same time, though, it does mean, yeah, at a certain point early on, you're probably going to lose money at first before you actually figure out how to do it. So I guess that's how he squares the circle in this one. But I mean, at the same time, he talks about if you try to go too big, too fast, it's going to collapse on itself. And theoretically, if you have it down perfectly, it's not going to collapse if you can just go right to the upsells, downsells, and continuity. So what do you think are like maybe some common reasons why or how people go too big, too fast and it fails?
So perfect example of the 4 ways to contact somebody, you tell them about yourself. The easiest, fastest one would be you take the warmest people, the people that already know you, and then you tell them, and then you're good. The hardest, most expensive way is paid ads. So you're going to spend money to tell people a message. You will learn when telling the warm people about yourself, how people respond to different things that you say. and you'll figure out what the script needs to be. You'll figure out what people respond to. You'll figure out, and in that process, if you're getting people in and you're getting momentum, then you're figuring out your own product. You're figuring out what makes you special. You're figuring out all of these things along the way, and all of that, and you're niching down more. The more niche down, the more direct and focused your message gets. And so as you do all that in the correct order, you get a very fine, refined message targeted to a very specific kind of person. And then if you try to take that specific thing to a targeted person and throw money at it, now you need to learn the skill of copywriting, how to make an ad, video editing, all these other skills on top that you're going to suck at because you've never done them before. Could you imagine trying to suck at all of the ad creation skills while you also suck at you don't even know what your product is and who you're selling it to at the same time?
Yeah, it sounds like hell.
So like you would be throwing spaghetti out there into the world that you'd have just like, you'd be wasting so much money.
I was so ready. I was so ready for you to be saying you'd be wasting so much spaghetti. I was like, yes, it's coming. I'm just throwing spaghetti at all the. You throw enough spaghetti, you can make a wall about which to throw more spaghetti. So
that's fair, Sam. I think you have the best answer on this one, by the way, and I think that your answer really shows how all three of the Hormozi books go together. Which is that if you looked at this one, you're trying to build models, but you don't have some of the other things that he talked about, particularly in the second book, which was $100 million offers, or even the baseline, which is $100 million leads is the second. That's how you do the advertising. And then even how do you understand what your customer wants? How do you provide that value? Yeah, that's book one for sure. That's $100 million offers. So, okay. Yeah. I think you really hit that one on the head there. Cause I think this is a good example of how this incorporates a lot of the other stuff. And it incorporates one of the Hormozi isms from the first book where he talks about the different cups of water, which is that if you try to fill a lot of different cups at the same time, none of them is going to fill very fast. What you really should do is focus on one and fill it up as much as you can until it flows over. At that point, then you're able to start filling a second cup. So it goes to his principle with that, which is we need to get good at one thing first before you can get good at everything else. Because if you try to do an attraction offer and the upsell and the downsell and continuity, you're probably spreading yourself too thin, exactly like you said. So if you can really focus on how to not suck at one, you build one base before you try to build the entire house at the same time. That makes the most sense.
At your service, sir.
Well said, sir. It's why we need a real business owner out here. I guess technically I'm a business owner as well, but different aspect. Already, that pretty much. It sounds crazy to say. That's pretty much the book. Granted, we are on what is effectively a 2-hour podcast to cover a 3-hour and 30-minute book with a little bit of fluff and personal anecdotes as well. So it makes sense. But there's something I want to talk about when it comes to all of the books in general and also this one, which is that I think that there's something unspoken that you kind of got to accept before you even get to it, which is a lot of what Hormozi's talking about is stuff that really only works once you kind of get rid of self-doubt or that nagging voice in the back of your head and you really like give yourself permission to do these kind of things. It's what I alluded to earlier in the podcast, talking about the pessimistic customer looking at the world saying, I'm getting less for my money. Everyone's out for me, that kind of stuff. And Sam, you've even talked about this on the podcast tonight, which is like, when you're young and inexperienced and trying to figure it out, there's a nervousness, there's self-doubt about how to apply these things. Because I will say, Alex Hormozi is very unapologetic about all the different topics he talks about. He's like, yes, we are trying to make the most money possible. We want our customers to spend the most money possible with us. If you're maybe that person starting out, it probably feels a bit weird to try to like think about how can I get more money out of this person as opposed to just like making that first sale. So do you guys think that they're like, I'm onto something with this, which is like, you have to kind of like step out and like stop thinking of what you're doing is like cringe or like no one can, or like other people are going to judge me, that kind of stuff. Is that a prerequisite for all the information in these books?
I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be a prerequisite. I think that you can read these books like starting at zero and still get something out of it. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily what your question was, but
I would disagree with my brother. I would say yes, Zenith. Um, I would say like you can it can be a yes, it can be a maybe, but if it's a no, like you're wasting your time reading the book. Um, when someone knows how to do something better than you shut up and you forget all the things you know because you don't have what they have, and you should do exactly what they say if you want to get the goals that they've accomplished. So there is a level of like you need to like within yourself stop caring about all the things you think you know, because if you knew what he knew, you'd have the success that he has, most likely.
That
We're
makes
all pretty
sense.
much the same organisms, so
I think I
That's
probably
true.
misunderstood the question. I totally agree
Oh.
with Sam. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
It's true. Sam, I want to get back to you on that one real quick, but I think that one of the dots I connected on this one is that I think this might be one of the reasons why people are unable to even make that first offer and make a profit out of it. I think it might come down to the self-doubt, the lack of confidence kind of thing, which is I have to over offer in order just to get this person through the door. I have to go at a detriment to myself to try to get this first sale so hard that that's one of those traps that people fall into because you're so worried about not having the thing that you're willing to throw money and just keep throwing money at the problem to even clear that first hurdle. And the only thing it's really doing is kind of putting your business further and further into the red just to get off the ground. And ultimately, if you're doing that, you're not getting off the ground, you're going further into it.
yes.
True. All right. Tell you what, I do want to get our business owner in here. So, Sam, do you have any good stories or anything about maybe trying to like overcome this fear or lessons you learned or moments where you really had to like step out of yourself or out of your comfort zone and be like, I'm worried that everyone's watching me and I'm going to come off as cringe or weird, but in reality, nobody cares. And you just push through.
Yes, all the time. I would say the second half of my year in 2025 was a lot about like honestly being more sociopathic about my business. I get some advice from a fellow businessman who I consult with, and he like one of the hard things for people is like you need to look at your business as an organism that you are in charge of maintaining. And that includes how it treats you and how it treats other people. You are most concerned with the organism surviving and thriving, which could mean you're going to not include certain people. As an example, I may have a cousin who is really good at making t-shirts, and he might want to be the t-shirt making guy for my business. But if I can get the t-shirts for what I need good enough for $5 less somewhere else, I don't like I shouldn't care unless I care about the network and the access of this particular cousin. I wouldn't care. Like so there was a lot of lessons in there about being more sociopathic in terms of just removing emotion and being purely does this make sense? Um, very much so. When I was starting to call people and offer them the free thing, there was a lot of learning involved to like I mean there was like a sinking feeling in my gut for the first like 3 days I was calling people. It got over pretty quickly because I was using a rapid dialer system and it was just burning through like 200 people a day. So that got over pretty quickly. I will say the other piece that's like, yeah, being okay, not caring what people think is in line with telling people no when you don't want to work for them and telling them why or anything like that. Because just as much as you want to sell to the best people, you want to turn the worst people away because they're going to like poison the well of your time. And especially for a business like mine, where someone's going to pay me all up front and then I'm going to effectively commit myself to being their slave and do whatever they ask for the next year until this house is built. Like, of course, I want the project to be done in 2 weeks, but some
Don't we
people
all?
come back every month and they're like, oh, we changed this. Oh, we changed this. Oh, we changed this. And I need that number to be like I'm happy to get back into this with you, and I'm going to fix this for you, and I'm like not going to charge you a change order or some fee or something, right? So like being able to tell people things directly, tactfully, empathetically, but also directly, and giving them the opportunity to be an adult and trusting them to respond as an adult is a lot. I think that was a big part of it. Is like I realized if I was withholding the truth of what I really wanted to say, I was just not trusting the other person to handle it. So it's like, oh, well, what does that say about my relationship with this person? And that could be business, it could be personal, it could be any of those things.
I like that. I believe what you're looking at there on the idea that you want to find the best customers, not the worst. It's the Pareto principle, which is that 20% of your customers are going to cause 80% of your problems. You're going to spend 80% of your time on 20% of your customers, that kind of idea. Even Hormozy incorporates that idea into this book. I think he talks about, especially during the downselling section, he says that we do not negotiate with financial terrorists or hostage takers. We are not willing to negotiate on the price of the thing. We'll offer you other things at different prices, but we're not going to be driven or taken hostage by these people. So that makes sense for sure. And
When
gosh,
you negotiate with terrorists, you give other people permission to try and abuse you to get you to do a thing. So like that's the whole principle behind that, by the way. That's why you don't negotiate with terrorists, is because like you might lose something very valuable to you if you do, but you lose twice, or if you don't, rather. If you don't negotiate with the terrorists, you might lose something very valuable. But if you do negotiate with the terrorists, then now you've lost two things, and one of which is way harder to get back than just both. So it's a lose-lose scenario. So you pick the less of the losses is the whole reasoning behind that. So anyway, sorry, an aside.
Makes sense. No, and even you also tied in another very classic book. I think it was book club number 2 that we did, which was The Richest Man in Babylon. There is as part of the book where he specifically talks about if you are going to be a money lender, trying to be emotionless about it, and even the dangers of trying to lend money to family, that kind of thing. You mentioned it with like pulling the emotion out. Like, look, does your cousin do the t-shirt printing? Yes. Can you find another source that does it just as good or even better at a lower cost? Yes. Okay. Why would I not go with this aside from that like emotional pressure or the guilt that you feel that? And you even laid it out perfectly, which is like, step back, look at it. Is it advantageous monetarily when I factor in all the other costs, relationships, network, what's the word I'm looking for? Appearance, ego, public branding.
There's a whole bunch of things that go into it other than just the money. So it's like which do you want to build? Do you want to build your wealth, or do you want to build your relationship with the person? Like if I want to do business, like let's say that I like me and Sam have another brother named Ed. Let's say we have a third brother, right? Named Billy Bob Thornton, right? And Billy Bob Thornton, our third brother, he owns a sandwich making shop, but he makes the worst sandwiches at the highest prices. I can choose to go to Billy Bob Thornton's horrible sandwich shop because I love Billy Bob Thornton, my third brother, and I can be like, Billy Bob Thornton, I'm going to buy a sandwich from you because I love you and because I want to build this relationship between the two of us. And then when I'm actually hungry and I want to actually get a good deal, I go to other sandwich shops somewhere else. And like both things can be true at the same time, but you just have to choose like, why am I doing this thing or that thing? What is the right thing for me to be solving? Do I want to build my relationship, or do I want to build my business, right? And just like Sam was saying, each of these things is an organism. Your relationship with another person is an organism just as much as a business is an organism. So if you don't feed all of these organisms, they die. If you don't feed your relationships with other people, it dies. If you don't go tell grandma that you love her and like go to her house and help her bake cookies and sing church songs, then as far as she's concerned, the relationship is dead. You know, if you don't find a good place to print your t-shirts, and you lose all your money in your business because you're getting t-shirts printed to save your cousin's business, then now your business dies and you're sacrificing one organism for another. So it's just like life is this constant game of trade-offs, and you just have to determine which one is the most important at each particular time to you first and foremost, and then to other people if it's relevant or necessary. So that's my TED talk on all this.
I dig it. Tell you what, let's go a little full circle here. So, Sam, we talked about how you felt in the beginning, kind of getting over that self-doubt, confidence, imposter syndrome stuff, whatever. When you're doing things now, how do you feel about it? What are the things you think about? What's your mental frame?
I would say my mental frame is very much like, I mean, I learned a lot in 2025 about how I shouldn't run my business. Which is the only way to learn how I shouldn't run my business is to do it poorly.
There you go.
So, I am fixing a lot of things, and the mental frame that I'm in is, I know a lot of people now who know that I'm an expert, and they're telling everybody else about me, and I'm generating a whole bunch of momentum in a particular direction, and I need to let the process happen. Like I can't skip steps, like you said in the Money Models book. A lot of what I did 2025 was like watch every single Hormozy video I could find ever anywhere and execute every single thing that he ever talked about. And it's like I spent a bunch of energy throwing my water all over the table trying to put in all these cups instead of like focusing on, no, he said this thing is your problem, so solve this problem. You'll figure out in the next steps like how to fix all this stuff. And like in the beginning, get cash. If you run out of cash, you die. Your business can't go. You can't pay for your software to draw houses. I have to be very lucky that like my business runs with one piece of software, maybe two. Like I said, I can send emails and I can draw things. It can be very simple. I also like to stream and do lots of other crazy things, but like it can be simple. So the takeaway for me in 2026 is much more around slow down, do the things that need to be done, solve everybody's problems that I want to be involved with, and like there's a learning versus earning trade-off every time you're in doing anything. Like if I'm quit my job and go learn how to sew cat clothes, I'm going to learn a lot about cat clothes, but I'm probably not going to get paid a lot to do it. And if I can turn around and use those skills to create this super great business, making a bunch of money, then I'm trading back and forth. Now I'm in the earning phase using what I've already learned. So I'm aiming for the learning phase more so in this year, and I'm going to try to slow the pace down, let things naturally expand as they already are, while continuing to like push growth. But without going into too much detail, I think that's a decent summary. Did I answer your question?
You got half of it. I was going to say, you mentioned previously when you were starting to do picking up the phone, calling people, that kind of stuff, you got that sinking feeling in your gut. When you're doing those kind of activities now, how do you feel? Do you feel loose? Do you feel good? You just not even think about it. You're just like, yep, here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And part of it's from like competency breeds confidence.
There you go.
I know what I'm doing, and I know the problem I'm solving, and I know how many people react to it, and I know how they react to it. And so every single time I pick up the phone, I'm trying to help someone. And like
that's cool. That's going to be a good feeling.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's pretty good.
You touched on it, but in my opinion, I think Alex Hormozy actually dropped one of his best quotes ever in this book, and it was just like at the end randomly exactly what about what you talked about. He says, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror every morning. You become confident by creating a stack of undeniable results and wins that show you are who you say you are.
Hey, beat me to it, bro. I was gonna bring that one up myself. That's you did it. You did it. You got it. Very good.
Dude, that was such a good one. And honestly, like it ties into what we talked about when it comes to the speed of trust, which is like, what is trust? It's being honest. It's being who are you say you are, but it's also being capable and having a track record to show for it. And that really highlights on that one. I think of a lot of what we kind of see in social media stuff is people saying like, you have to like talk yourself up before you become confident. I think Hormozy is kind of the guy that's just like, I'm going to hit the ground pounding. And at the end of it, I'm going to have walked a lot farther than I would have thought. And this one, I think, encapsulates that perfectly. True.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty. Hey, there you go. Will, do you have the sign, sir?
I do have the sign. Ladies and germs, it's time for chat shoutouts upside down. Fucking hit it, Zenith.
Will do. Alrighty, we got some good friends of ours coming in here. Funkmaster Hex, he says, ladies and gentlemen, good evening with the whiskey glass. As always, cheers to you, good sir. Herc is coming in here. He was saying, wait, you guys are paid 26% financing? We pay 9% and think that's high.
Yep, and I got to clarify, this is only like young Marine boots that can be fooled into this. You know, normal young people APR. This is like it's basically like when you go to a place and they rob you, but you don't know it. So like people aren't normally paying 26% APR for cars. So this is just like the stories that we tell of like anytime you're around a military base in the United States of America, there are four things. There's four things that are in plentiful supply because Marines and Army and Navy and whatever, you know, Coast Guard, all of the branches get paid every 1st and 15th of the month. You can always count on them having just boatloads of money to spend, and they don't have to worry about rent or food. So they've always just got spending money. And so you're always going to have strip clubs. You're always going to have tattoo parlors. You're always going to have car lots, and you're always going to have like liquor stores nearby military bases.
Dry cleaners and tailors as well for the uniforms.
Oh yeah, for the responsible ones. But I'm talking strictly about the vices where people are spending their money.
There you go.
They're going to the strip clubs. They're buying sex. They're going to the tattoo parlor. They're buying ink. They're going to the car store to go like get some fucking stupid ass deal. And they're going to the liquor store, and all of these things are where all the military bad ideas and great stories originate. You know, so it's part of like the part of the coming of age sequence for the foolish. So it's not normal.
Hopefully that coming of age story goes away.
Yeah,
dude.
9% is definitely high. I will say that 9% is high. So if you're getting 9% on your car note, then you know, eek.
Yeah. Alrighty. Funkmaster Hacks doing us a favor. He says, hit the damn like button. Folks, we do appreciate every time you do the YouTube pleasantries around here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Shout out to all you guys catching replay gang as well. Thank you very much. And hopefully we can even catch you live for the next one when you tune in for it. And coming in here, we also got our good buddy, Dr. Alan Chen of the YouTube channel, Your Health Unplugged. He says, hola, amigos with a heart. Good to see you, big guy. Let us know if you read this one. I feel like you'd really like this one as well, and would love to hear your thoughts on it too. Alrighty, gentlemen, that takes us to the end of chat shoutouts. So here we go. I want to know on our mastery scale of 0 to 10,000 hours, where would you guys put this book and why? Will, take us.
Man, I would say you could put this book anywhere on the scale and get some good results from it. That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier when I got the question wrong. You can read this book at any point in time and you'll be good. But where this book will really be helpful is probably around hour number 10,000 or 8,000, somewhere in there, when you've got your business, when you've got your shit going. You know, because businesses don't just start up and get successful overnight. They generally, you know, obviously it's a bell curve distribution, right? So they generally start up, they take a couple years to figure out what they're doing, and then they start getting really good. This book is in the starting getting really good like part. This is when you've like solved a bunch of your entry level kinks and problems and issues, and you're now getting into the big boy world. And so I would say that that belongs at the 4-year mark or the 5-year mark. So 8 or 10,000 hours in the world of like small business and stuff. As far as like, can anybody read this and get good stuff from it? Absolutely. That's what I think. That's what I think regarding anything that Hormozy has to offer is anybody can pick these books up and get a really good, solid, beneficial learning experience going through them and consuming them. But like where you're going to really get the sauce is probably 4 or 5 years of really putting the nose to the grindstone and getting after it in the small business world and things like that. So that's my thoughts.
I dig it. All right, Sam, 0 to 10,000 hours. Where does it go?
I would say I would agree with Will, and I would add to it that I don't think I would have benefited a lot from reading this book in the first year of my business.
Okay.
There were a lot of things. It's not always helpful to know what step 10 is going to be when you just need to do step 1. Like knowing what step 10 is can make it worse. Because you're like, well, I could spend a little bit of time on it because it sounds cool, right? If I liked, for example, if I like making content, I was literally doing this for a long time. I love producing on YouTube. I love making these videos, Frame It Fridays, all this stuff. Well, I figured out at one point that like I wasn't getting any leads from this because I don't know what I'm doing in terms of turning this platform into money for my business. I need to be calling everybody first. And it's like, oh, well, that took a year and a half or 2. Now that I'm through all that, and I'm like, oh, now I have this huge network of people that are both on my social media and in email and online and all that stuff. Now I can give them value continuously by producing valuable content and keeping them warmer, which keeps them more likely to convert. Like now that's the step that I need. But for example, knowing that like I should create social media content could distract me in stage 1 when I should have been calling people. So that's as an example.
Where does the money come from? Does it come from the calls or does it come from the social media? It's like, damn it. It comes from the calls, motherfucker.
Yep.
There you go. So final answer, how many hours?
How many hours? 6 to 8,000.
Dang. Okay. Geez, this might even be
3
higher
to 4
than
years.
Adam Smith Wealth of Nations for crypto investors who we usually go with. I got to say, gentlemen, I think you guys have actually convinced me. I was going to make the joke about putting it at 25 hours plus how many hours the first 2 books are. But I think you make a really compelling argument there, which is that, like you said, unless you really know what you're doing, there's a lot of stuff here that you can trip you up. Like Sam, exactly like you said. Once you know all the steps past step 1, if you're not good at step 1, it could just be distracting. I originally thought of my answer because I see these things as very akin to roadmaps, which is that this is going to give you the plan that you can build, and then it's up to you to follow the plan. But at the same time, it could kind of become this like forbidden knowledge that's going to trip you up. It's like, you know, these things and you want to think about it, but realistically, if you follow the Hormoziisms, it's fill the first cup up before you start filling up the other cups. Even if you're just putting a few drops over there, it's still less drops in that first cup. So gosh, that makes sense as well. I don't.
There's a lesson in here, by the way, that oftentimes when you see those farther down the road steps, you're like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do that. But as soon as you've done the first step all the way through, you're like, oh, I obviously know how to do that because I have all this data now. Like, duh. It's like
that makes sense.
You got to earn it. You have to earn the knowledge, and you don't earn it by learning it. You earn it by like doing the work.
That's fair. All right. Tell you what, I'll include all 3 books in my analysis here. Tell you what, book 1, $100 million offers. I'll put it at 100 hours. You need some base skills before you get to it. On average, if you work 40-hour weeks times 52, taking into account holidays, we'll just call it an even 50. That turns into 2,000 hours. So we'll add 2,000 hours on top of that for the second book. So 2,100 hours for $100 million leads and $100 million money models. We'll call that one another 2,000 hours. So we're up to 4,100 hours. That is where you should put this on your journey to mastery for me. I have it a little earlier on because I still think this is really good information to help build that roadmap, build the vision, give you a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. But gentlemen, I am convinced. I think you guys are correct on this one, which is you got to finish step 1 before you can even think about step 5. Makes sense to me.
I would put them in. I would agree with you on the 100 hours for the first one, because I think that everyone needs to know how to make a good offer, how to make a good sale, how to see things from other people's perspectives, and how to solve their problems. That's what I think everyone should do. Um, but then I would increase logarithmically with each one. So 100 hours for the first one, 1,000 hours for the second one, 10,000 hours for the third one, right? Because it's like that's just the it's a good simple system. You just add another zero, not because it's well thought through. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that like all of these books are great for everybody. All of these books, like you can get a good 60% value out of reading each of these books before you're ready for them. So like don't be scared. Pick it up, give it a read. But like you're gonna get the maximum potential of it when you're ready for it because you've earned it, because you've done the. It's like we don't teach black belt moves to the white belt. It's like we show them how it's done, but we don't sit there and like go through the stuff until they've learned like what is the flow of the like the kata, or the like how do I move bodies around, and like where is my grounding, what's my center of mass, all of these things you have to earn the knowledge for by being immersed in it. So
there you go.
I think
basic weapon safety, basic pistol, then you can start thinking about clearing rooms.
Yep.
There you go. I like
Crawl,
it, sir.
walk, run.
Alrighty, tell you what, that pretty much does it for us. So before we get out of here and before we do too much of the stuff, Mr. Sam Stevenson, the owner, operator, the man behind Rapid Designs. Good sir, any final thoughts? Where can the folks find you, and what do you have going on in the near future?
Yeah, folks can find me at my Instagram, sam.d.stevenson, or just go to rapidarchitectural.com if you want to see some cool plans. And I got lots of free stuff on there. If you want to draw your own plans, everything I use is already on that site. You can download it and get going on your own. I have a YouTube channel where I've got a bunch of videos on how to do everything I've learned along the journey, whether it's building ADUs. I'm actually this summer going up to Washington, going to build another ADU in the family. So the fun never
Accessory
stops.
dwelling unit for the folks out there.
Yes, accessory dwelling unit. It's like it's like a little apartment right in your yard. So we're doing that. Just staying in touch, staying in the networking industry. I got this van. Before the mid part of 2026, I want this thing built out to be a podcast studio so I can drive to people and do in-person podcasts with builders, with fellow Hexicans, networkers, you name it, pretty girls, dating shows, all the fun stuff.
I don't know if this is a good thing to ask or not, so shut me down if it's no good, but are you interested in showing the folks at home what you've been working on in the van? Because I've been going on this journey with you over the past several days. We've done lots of phone calls together, and so it's been quite fun for me anyways to listen to and to see the things.
It's not the
going
cleanest
on.
It's ever been, but I can
no, of course not, but it's like can you tell the folks at home like kind of sort of what it is that you're doing, and like and what you have done to make this van livable and cool and awesome?
Yes. So you take a cargo van that's completely empty, and you carefully insulate the floor. Then you put a floor down so you can walk around. You insulate the ceiling, so you have that covered. You insulate the walls wherever you can. And I'm splitting this unit in half. The front half is going to be dedicated to podcasting. The back half will be storage, cooking, etc. There's quite a number of things, but generally you take the van, you want to keep the weather out and the heat out or in. And yeah, I mean, everybody builds these things differently. There's so many great options nowadays. You can get vans, you can get bigger vans, RVs. There's like trailer pull behinds. Like there's just a million different ways to do this. So I highly recommend everybody gets out there in a vehicle and explores that world, because there's not a lot of things other than, no one wants to sit at home all the time. You should meet people in real life. Go to the IRLs, the Hex meetups. That's what you should be doing. You should meet real people and make real connections, because you're going to be depressed if you don't do that.
Yes. It is like meeting people is what it's all about. And I will take this opportunity to shamelessly plug my Telegram that I have for meeting Hexicans by saying, If you want to go to meet Hexicans, then go to bit.ly/hex_meetup. You can also use t.me/hex_meetup. The bit.ly will take you straight to the start here page, though. That's the secret sauce. The bit.ly will take you straight to the place that explains how to best use the Telegram to go and meet other Hexicans and to go and include, not so much to go and like extract like, oh, hey, where can I go to your guys' meetup? But this is how you start your own motherfucking meetups and you invite other people to do the cool things that you're already doing. That's what it's all about. So if you guys want to meet Hexicans, go there. If you want to meet Degens, then go to t.me/DRT join now, or you can scan that little QR code that is right up there above Mr. Zenith. There is my link. I am being a terrible, horrible laptop producer right now. But yeah, go to t.me/DRT join now, and you can be a part of our little community. And you can hang out with us, come join the streams. When we're doing Whiskey Wednesday, come fucking hang out, come talk about video games and all sorts of things. If you want to find me personally, go to will.pls.fyi, but nobody cares about me. You guys care about yourselves, and I don't fucking blame you because you're cool and you're awesome, and that's why we're here streaming. Mr. Zenith, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future? And I do have a book for next week whenever we're ready to announce that.
Sounds good. Tell you what, well, you can find us on Sunday for our flagship Sunday news show where we talk about everything going on in the world of crypto and all the funny, interesting news that happens during that, 8 p.m. Eastern time, like all of our streams. The next one after that is going to be Whiskey Wednesday, where we get to hang out with you, the community. You guys can hop on stream with us, chit chat, talk about whatever you want, or we might also have some special topics prepared for you guys then. And then additionally, we're going to be coming back on Friday for the next book club hosted by Will over there. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern time, as always. Mr. Will Stevenson, what book are we covering?
We're going to be reading The Alabaster Girl by Zan Perian. The Alabaster Girl it's a bit of a story, and it's an explainer, and it's also a proof of like concept and mentality. It's the story of Zan Perian and his world of dating and romance and just appreciating the beautiful female creature. And it's not a pickup artistry book. It's a book about legitimate appreciation for women and also maintaining your own masculine frame. And Zan Perian is he's a modern day, what's the dude? Don Juan, Casablanca, all those people. So we're going to be reading The Alabaster Girl by Zan Perian, and it's a fantastic book. And not only is it good about romance, but it's also good about psychology and manipulation and a little bit of sales in there, which is my favorite thing. So The Alabaster Girl by Zan Perian is what we are covering next on the DGen Roundtable Book Club. But Mr. Zenith, where can the folks find you? And what have you got going on in the near future, amigo?
I will say that, but first I will say, look, there's a reason that majority of good art is made of the female figure instead of the male, outside of the statue of David, but that's neither here nor there. Other final note of order, Mr. Sam Stevenson, we have one final question for you. Is the van white, unmarked, and full of candy?
The van is currently white, unmarked, and full of cotton candy of sorts. Insulation is very appealing sometimes when I'm hungry. So yes, you could say that. Though I don't think I'll be using it to attract the children. Children, would you like to come eat some fiberglass? It looks delicious. There is a plan for a wrap. Actually, you guys would appreciate this van wrap. I don't really have an immediate way of bringing this image up. But,
I think I can find it. It's in our Telegram,
it's in our
right?
Telegram. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna get it.
Okay. Either way, I'll just say the pink insulation. It's tempting. It's very tempting to eat.
It is tempting.
It looks absolutely delicious. Okay, guys, so check this out. I'm going to do a Mr. Producer share screen here. And I'm going to show you, an airbrushed wolf or dragon on the outside? Quite possibly, Miss Arceus, quite possibly indeed. Check this out. I'm pulling up the share screen. And you guys are going to get to see what the Rapid Designs van is fixing to look like. Holy moly.
Oh!
What a beautiful possible wrap potential. Again, this is not guaranteed. Also, the van depicted is what, 2 foot longer than the one that you have, Sam?
Yeah. Yep. It'll be 2 foot shorter.
Okay,
That's
but
hot.
yeah,
That's
we've
hot.
got let's see.
Notice
Let's see what we've
the
got over here.
hexagons built into the texture.
Yep.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
It's almost like the hex gradient colors from the website for hex were used to color the van.
Yes,
Imagine
yes,
that.
I see many honeycombs and hexagons. I like it a lot. And also like it's the same gradient as Instagram, it's the same gradient as many awesome and lovely things, but I like that it's got the hex.com. It's got Proverbs 16:16, which is our mother's tax resolution service. By the way, if anyone wants tax resolution and you're a good customer, then think about reaching out to our mother. Anytime Fitness, ZMH Homes, Estate ADU, like all these excellent businesses that Sam has worked with. And theirs, is this you, Sam? This is a picture of
Yeah.
you, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So not only is it a business van, but it's also a travel and adventure van where you're going to be going around exploring the United States, taking cool biking opportunities and things of that nature, right?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be cool and awesome. So anyways, that's what the Rapid Designs van looks like. You guys got the preview here first. You guys got the sauce.
That's sick. It
Mhm.
just looks good. That's all I gotta say. Killer.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you.
And also I will remind you all that Dr. Alan Chen gives his full support and endorsement to every single piece of candy you guys can ever find. If there's one thing that Alan loves, it's corn syrup, it's sugar, and it's the overconsumption of all of these things. So
Red
shout
dye
out to
number
guys.
Don't
40.
forget Red 40. Yeah.
Yep, red dye 40. There you go. So don't eat too much candy, guys. Dr. Chen is being a silly goose here, and I'm ribbing him for it. So thank you for your chats there. All of you guys that are watching at home, we love each and every single one of you.
Yeah, chat was phenomenal tonight. Thank you guys so much for showing up and participating. It's part of what makes these things so much fun. We appreciate you guys showing up every time, and we hope that we're making excellent content for you guys. And by the way, we also read the books because we enjoy them, and we think that you guys are going to enjoy them as well. So with that being said, let's get out of here for tonight. Folks, if you're interested in me, you can find me on X or Instagram at ZenithDI, or if you're interested in that legal talk I gave, it was day 4 of the Hex Conference 2026, right at the beginning with Matty Allen. Thank you again so much for putting that on. You do a tremendous service for all of us in the Hex community when you do so. So thanks, big guy. With that being said, it's time for the thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time here with us tonight at the DGen Roundtable. As our very own Agent Jay often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it right here with us. Folks, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. So, Mr. Producer, that is me, go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.